Good evening, Award Travel 101. I'm your founder, Richard Kerr, and to my left, your right, is my better half, Miss Emily Kerr.
Hello.
We are here tonight to talk about the Park Hyatt St. Kitts, which is where we went for our anniversary back in June. And a lot of folks have asked questions about it. It's a really unique location. I hope that we have some very valuable insight to share so that you can decide whether it's worth the effort to get down to St. Kitts and Nevis and pay for a stay either with points or cash at the Park Hyatt. A lot going on in the group. It's great to be back live. It's been nice to be home for a few weeks. I'm leaving tomorrow. Emily is not, but another member of our family is, so stay tuned for that. If you got any questions anytime, please throw it up here in the comments. We'll be watching the whole time. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the location of the Park Hyatt St. Kitts. So the St. Kitts and Nevis is a country. It is 2 islands. The Park Hyatt is right on the southern end of St. Kitts, right across from Nevis. And Emily, what was your impression about the Caribbean island and the location of the resort, and give folks a quick idea of where it is?
Well, I get really car sick, so it was not a very far drive from the airport at all. But for me personally, it was kind of a bumpy ride over there. But once we got to the resort, I felt like it was very secluded. Wouldn't you say? It was difficult to really walk anywhere. So you should probably plan either to take a cab if you want to go to like dinner or something, or just stay at the resort. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so a quick idea. The resort is located on the very southern end of Nevis. It's away from all of the developed part of the islands. There's nothing else around it. It's about a 20-minute cab ride from the St. Kitts airport. And it's all windy roads, but they have set taxi fares, so you're not going to get ripped off. There's a big sign right on the building of the airport that says it costs this much. And it's right across the water from Nevis, which is the sister island, all part of the same country. The Park Hyatt does have a boat that takes you back and forth. Do you remember how much the outrageous ride was?
I think it was like $20 a person.
Each way. And this is
it was like 6 minutes.
Like a 6-minute ride over there that kind of gets you because you have no other way. We did spend 3/4 of a day over in Nevis. You have a great view of the water and the island from the resort right on the southern tip of Nevis. So that's where it's located.
I felt like it was, and you can probably see it from the cover photo if you were to refer back to the video, it was a lot browner there than I thought. I thought it would be more lush, more green, and that's just my naive. Like, I didn't know what it would look like. So I was a little disappointed in the surrounding scenery, I guess, not being so lush looking.
One big problem the resort has, and all of the islands still have in the Caribbean, is seaweed. So apparently since the huge hurricanes came through almost exactly a year ago, it has churned up some really significant seaweed. If you go to the Point Sky and Google the Point Sky Park Hyatt St. Kitts, you're going to see not my review, but my kind of tips and tricks. I got some pictures there. The seaweed almost made the beach useless as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, definitely. If you are one to want to spend hours on the beach and you like water sports and you want to be in the water, you probably would have been really disappointed. But we were happy, just kind of looking at it from a distance or hanging out by the pool. But I would have felt really disappointed if we had gone to enjoy the water and the beach itself.
Yeah, we asked the staff around, hey, is there anything you can do? Driving back to the airport, we saw how actually terrible it is on the, we call it the windward side of the island, facing the Atlantic Ocean. The Marriott there had 100 yards of seaweed off of it, so the Park Hyatt actually had it kind of good, but there's not much they can do right now. Somebody just asked, is there a lot to do around the resort? No, you got to take a cab about 20-30 minutes up to all of the tourist activities in St. Kitts, but you can go over to Nevis. So we'll go down to kind of the activities that they had at the resort. So we spent a day in Nevis. Emily, tell them what we did and your impression of the other island.
I mean, it was okay. All the hotel staff recommended this really popular bar that, come to find out, they probably just have like a close relationship and with the owners maybe. And it was okay. It wasn't as like authentic as we thought it was going to be. We went to this garden.
The Botanical Gardens.
Yeah. What did you think about that? I think you were a little more impressed than I was with it. There was like some, interesting things that.
Yeah. Botanical Gardens is cool. They had all kinds of fruit. They had a guy walking around that told us These are all the kinds of different fruits we have. There's monkeys going through there. You look at the peak of Nevis, which is kind of neat. It's typically hidden by clouds. A little bit of history over there is where Alexander Hamilton was born. So we went and saw the St. Kitts and Nevis Parliament building, which is literally the size of 2 of these rooms that we're in right
really
now.
Small.
And then Sunshine's is the bar. You're going to hear that. You're going to say, everybody on Nevis tells you go to Sunshine's. Don't go. Some guys were fighting for 45 minutes there. We actually had to walk out on the beach to get away. I think it's worth going over to Nevis. The Four Seasons is over there. You can take boat rides and do all the water sports, but I think I would go for a hike if we could do it again. You could apparently hike up to the top of Nevis, and it's about 2 hours each way. Would have been really cool, but it's worth the boat ride. It is $20 per person each way from the Park Hyatt, but it's literally right there at the Park Hyatt. So you just know you're going to spend some money.
Yeah, but the resort itself was very, very nice, and I am not the type of person to spend any portion of my day like relaxing or leisuring or taking it easy. I'm like, I go, and I'm like a really high stress person, what do you say? So I literally enjoyed just like sitting in the room and reading and doing yoga and going to, just walking around and eating and not doing anything. So I was perfectly fine not leaving the resort because it was like just really nice being there.
Yeah, resort activities. There is an adults only pool kind of on the upper level. The resort does sit on a hill. You are going to have to walk 5 or 10 minutes to get pretty much anywhere, at least from our room. Then there's a pool down, infinity pool by the sand, which is all family. There were a couple families there. Really low occupancy, though, which is a lot of the deals that this hotel is offering and I think continues to offer. It's also not very easy to get to St. Kitts. Your options are pretty limited for points and miles. We used American Miles to fly American there, stopping in Miami. And then we flew a nonstop Delta back, which only operates in the summer and it's only once a week. But we use Virgin Atlantic Miles for that. So they have all the beach activities. They got a staff guy out there that has kayaks. He's got paddle boards. Any water sport you can want to do is included. If you want to rent jet skis, you can pay to do that. They have a volleyball court. Fitness center was really nice. We used that a couple times. And then if you do want to bring your family, Emily, tell them about what I thought was a pretty impressive kids club.
Yeah, it was really great. There was a staff member, kind of sad. She didn't have any kids there, but I don't know if there were any kids under the age of like 10 there. They had all kinds of activities. They had like a playground area, a nap room. It looked like very well kept up. Like the toys and the games and all of the supplies looked like it was like clean and well maintained. It looked like a really nice facility, and because like the resort itself is kind of secluded, I would feel pretty safe, I guess, like leaving the kids there, and so. I felt like it was nice to have that option. We didn't have our kids with us, but we did go in and take a little tour, just kind of for future reference. So I think it'd be really great to have that as like a option for like a family vacation.
I would bring kids there. They can hang out in that kids building. It's an own separate building that has all kinds of activities, and we could do our own thing. They close, I think, at 5 o'clock, so you're going to have to take the kids to dinner. You said safety. St. Kitts was probably the least sketchy Caribbean island I've been to. I guess we've been to 5 or 6 now. There was no haggling. There was no you're going to get ripped off. I felt completely safe at the resort. We walked around the corner. There's another kind of public beach that has a lot of beach huts and restaurants and bars. Around the corner, now it's local flair. There's nothing fancy. It's like literally 4 pieces of wood and a chair, so you got to get the authentic deal. If you want to go check that out, that's pretty much the only thing close by that you could go and walk to. If you didn't want to pay the food prices at the Park Hyatt, which is what we'll talk about next, what was your impression of the food? We'll start with breakfast.
So I thought that the food quality was excellent. I felt like they had a very wide variety of food. I felt like it was all very good. It was all tasted very fresh, great coffee. I felt like that the dining rooms themselves, the restaurant themselves, are very tastefully decorated. It was like all the customer service was excellent. I felt like almost every single dining experience we had was great.
So they have the main family hut, which serves all 3 meals. Then they have a really fancy stone barn, which serves dinner. And then they have a seafood restaurant over by the dock. All the prices are expensive. Without drinks, we're talking well over $100 for 2 meals, maybe an appetizer. They do put service charges on top of everything, whether it's $17 chips and guacamole at the pool, or if it's dinner, you're going to go ahead and pay that 10% service charge on top of the local taxes. So food prices add up really quickly. Now we went and we got $700 in room credit because at the time they were offering $300 per person in resort credit, and then I booked through a Hyatt Privy, which if you don't know what that is, Google Hyatt Privy, Privee, and you get additional perks just for booking through one of these Hyatt Privy agents. If you need to find one, shoot me a message and I'll point it to you. So we had $700, and
which sounds like a lot, but
we stayed 4 nights, and we still ended up paying out of pocket for a couple meals. So $700, and we did not get drinks.
I never got an alcoholic drink or a soda at dinner, not even once.
Yeah, so what we did do, and here's the best tip you're going to hear this entire video. When you land at the airport, there is a duty-free shop right next to the baggage claim. Everybody can have 2 bottles of spirits or 2 bottles of wine. So we went in there. We got a bottle of rum and 3 bottles of wine, and I think I paid $20, maybe $25 for all 4 bottles total, and we brought those to the resort with us, and we were pretty much good to go.
Yeah, and I think we even threw away some. We couldn't take some of it home or whatever, but because it was so cheap, we just didn't really care. And
so 3 restaurants and the in-room dining. I thought breakfast was one of the best spreads of any Hyatts I've been to in the world. It was fantastic. It was included with Globalist status. If you book through Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, it's also included because breakfast was going to be $50 a person after we got a coffee or a cappuccino. So make sure you book through Hyatt Privy or through Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts and get that amazing breakfast locked in. The rest of the food, like Emily said, was great. The dining experience was wonderful. All the waiters and waitresses were overly hospitable, and occupancy was so low the first night. We think we were the only one of 2 rooms that they were looking for something to do that would put a weird vibe. I think things are gradually picking up. I hope they're doing something to take care of that beach seaweed problem. But I didn't have any complaints. If you know what you're going to pay for going into it, if you know it's going to be expensive, but if you get that room credit, which I don't know if they're still doing that deal, but make sure you look around.
And totally no shame, we brought snacks. I brought snacks. We had a giant bag of snacks in our, granola bars, nuts, crackers, anything that 1 o'clock hits and you're kind of hungry, and just grab that out of our bag.
So the last thing we're going to talk about, we're going to go into the room. I'm going to switch back to this picture that I have just so you see. This is a view from our room, right in the middle of the resort. The closest pool to the camera is the adults only pool, and then you see the everybody family pool down by the sand. Really stunning grounds and property. So we were upgraded at check-in into a Nevis suite, which has its own plunge pool, and it has a just lovely view of Nevis right across the water. I had no complaints about the room. Really great.
Really nice. Very nice.
Plenty of space. Great shower. Had its own standalone bathtub. We had a queen or king bed. Great views overlooking the property from that picture I just showed. And if you wanted to close, they had double blinds to make it dark in there. They also had, you could crack the door open to the porch where the plunge pool was and put the screen there to keep the bugs out if you wanted to do that. Housekeeping was excellent. So if you've got a physical impairment, if you're a little bit elderly, if you got a bad knee, you're going to have to walk around this property a little bit. Now, they had golf carts coming around to help you out with that, but it's just something to think about if you're going to be visiting the Park Hyatt.
It's just really spread out versus in a city where the hotel goes up, I guess.
Yeah, it was. But sitting in a room, we spent the most time. I actually I call it working, but when we go somewhere just the 2 of us and there's no kids, if I can sit somewhere with a viewer in the room and write an article while Emily reads a book or goes and does a yoga class, we're both happy as can be. And we did a lot of that during our 4 nights.
Richard was actually, Emily, are you having fun? What's wrong with you? Why are you just laying around? You're worrying me. I was like, no, I'm just trying to relax.
Yeah. And that's what we spent our time doing. We rented a kayak and paddled out. All the staff was lovely. Every Thursday there's a GM reception where you can go and they serve a little bit of wine and talk to some of the staff. If you're going to have a meeting, the meeting spaces there are just top notch. They have own private kitchen. The entryway to the hotel where you're kind of walking on looks like a elevated platform over koi ponds. And you go into the living room where they check you in with the biggest check-in tables I've ever seen at any place. But it really sets the tone. I think they've got to do a couple things, and I'm going to let Emily tell you her suggestions, and I'm putting her on the spot here.
You first.
They've got to get rid of the seaweed. they at least have to disclose it. There was nothing I ever received or saw before we got there that said, hey, our beach is pretty much unusable right now. They've got to figure it out. They've got to put some nets out there because it all floats on the surface, so you can put a surface net that won't impede any of the sea life. They had 2 guys with shovels and
it's like totally
20-gallon trash
useless.
can.
Like, what are
It would
we
have
doing?
taken years to get rid of that amount of seaweed.
And it's like actually so sad. I wanted to just tell them to go home.
And they've got to put an affordable way for folks to subsist at the property. So there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing going on. Occupancy is so low, and the word about pricing has got out there. We're not by any means the first or only people saying this. They got to put some kind of menu there that is not going to scare families or even couples who aren't willing to spend the money or have the room credit away to go and eat there. Besides that, if you want to go chill out, if you want to relax, you can go have a day in Nevis. You can be in a wonderful setting with the sunsets coming right over the Caribbean Ocean into the property, and it can be really romantic. It can be a great time for a family to chill with the kids in the kids club, and you can make it go either way that you want to.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is definitely, the food was really expensive, and exactly what you said.
So the property is category 6. I really beat the GM about that. I said your occupancy is way too low to keep charging 25,000 Hyatt points per night. American miles to fly to St. Kitts, Delta Sky miles when they're operating during the summer, which means you should check Virgin Atlantic or Flying Blue first to fly that Delta flight. I think United is now servicing them a very odd basis from Newark. I don't think Houston, but not the easiest place to get to. It's really not even easy to get to another island in the Caribbean once you're down there. I think British Airways flies a Fifth Freedom route connecting to the Bahamas. Nope, it's not a category 7. Somebody just asked. It is the one below it. So somebody said a few questions here. We're going to wrap up. So if you got questions, just let us know. Were there cushions on the loungers by the pool and beach?
I think so.
Yeah,
Were there?
There
Yeah.
were. And they've got these little private
Little cabana things.
cabanas. They were not used at all, but they had like essentially king beds with the big cushions if you want
We
to go
never
for that.
used one, but
Yeah. I'm going solo, but my reservation is for 2 adults and 1 child. I may take a couple of entrees to give at breakfast. Yeah, not a bad deal. Snacks for the win, definitely. Leaning out towards swapping for the 4 seasons. Nevis is even more remote. I'm not sure if it's going to be any of a different kind of setting over there, but definitely check out both islands. There are a few different things I would do on Nevis. There's a plantation. I cannot remember the name of it, but you can go and eat a lunch there that people had great things to say. Definitely skip the Sunshine Beach Bar. It's just as expensive and touristy. I think the Botanical Gardens was worth going up. It's nothing grandeur, but it makes you really feel like you're in the middle of this island in the Caribbean that has some cool history. Were the beds comfortable?
yeah.
We
I
slept.
think so, yeah.
Emily wakes up at 5:30 or 6. We were in bed until 8 almost every morning.
Again, Richard, Emily, what's wrong? Are you sick? Do I need to take you to the doctor?
Do you have to pay for the cabanas? Nobody was paying for anything when we were there because it was so empty.
You may, but it was empty, so we would have probably just laid on one.
No, I slept very, very well. And Emily has a very sensitive back, and she had no complaints about the bed. But we have a Hyatt bed here at home, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same one, but we always sleep pretty well. Any other closing things to consider from a family or a single or a couple headed down to the Park Hyatt St. Kitts? Would you do it knowing now? Would you do it again? Tell the truth.
So I am not that big of a beach person. So I feel like such like a, I don't know the word for being like, oh, I didn't really enjoy. It was great, but I am not a happiest camper at the beach. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
I'm going to translate that for you. No, she wouldn't go.
But if you love the beach and you love views and you like the heat and
well, don't go
for
to
it.
the beach until they clean up the seaweed.
Yeah.
Hyatt Privy rate not combinable with City Prestige. I had heard that City Prestige is now Hyatt Privy, but I don't know. I ditched my Prestige card because that credit card went down the tanker fast.
I think you would go again, wouldn't you?
I would go if they kept the same deal. Now, if they think that their occupancy is up, where they can start jacking the prices up, because we paid cash. It was $200 a night, and we got $600 in credit plus taxes, so we ended up like $200 out of. I mean, it was something ridiculous deal that we got that's not there anymore. But if their britches get a little big and they start jacking prices up, no, I wouldn't do it.
Especially not with the kids, gosh.
But if you go in shoulder season again, like we did in June, which is not when people go to the Caribbean and those prices are really low again, I would definitely consider it, assuming that the flights are there to get there as well. I'm good with pools only. Don't care much about beach and sand, but Park Hyatt St. Kitts prices. The beach better be nice. Seaweed problem would suck, and that it does. Besides that, hey, heading out of town tomorrow and leaving Emily. By the way, folks, if you're looking and you're saying, well, that's a good-looking gal next to that guy, how did he do it? Emily wanted nothing to do with me, and then I logged into a Ward wallet, and I showed her my points and miles balances, and now she's Mrs. Kerr.
This is a lie.
That's the trick there, gents, to do it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Comments and posts are actually up 30% this month so far. We're having a great September. Folks are putting a lot of great information out there, and we're having a blast. Stay tuned for just more of that. Everybody tell Emily bye.